On Tuesday, June 12th, 2018 at 7:30 p.m. Meeting is now in session. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So everybody at home is going to be really relieved to know that there's very little on the agenda. The first item on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes from May 8th, 2018.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I'd like to have some discussion on that.
Okay.
I'd like to table the minutes, because I think there's a few things, I spoke with Valerie earlier today, that I am not particularly crazy about. And they are, on one of the pages with a decision, she writes, variance passes 3-2 in favor of. Well, 3-2 is not in favor of.
Oh, okay.
You need a supermajority.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want Paul to explain that.
Right,
further,
okay.
so.
And on the second one, it's also that way. All right, so I'd like to table it so she can correct it, or,
So I actually haven't seen them, Alan, so I'm going to catch up with you.
okay.
So the board voted in favor of 562 Boxford Street. So as the roll was taken, there were 3 votes, 3 yeas and 2 noes, and as you've already pointed out, there is a 4-to-1. There's a
It should be a
supermajority
it should be
requirement.
a supermajority.
So that was addressed in both of the decisions that were made, that the vote stands, that the board voted 3-2, but it was not an approval in that regard. So
It
the
was not an approval.
No, the decisions are denials of those two.
But she says,
Right.
over your board
'Cause-
voted in favor.
Right, because the minutes have to reflect what actually occurred at the meeting. So what actually occurred is that there was a 3-2 vote in favor. That does not mean that the
So shouldn't it also
application
mention that
passed.
shouldn't there be a highlight that a supermajority was not made? In essence, the motion was denied, that the variance was denied?
I think that you could do that. You could do that, Alan.
See, because
That's
the
not
average person is going to read this and say, the board voted in favor of.
understood. And then the average person is going to need to go and back that up with the actual
Yeah, but
decision.
why can't we make it easier for them and just say that it was denied because it wasn't a supermajority? Why do we have to educate everybody? You know, a lot of these people,
I talked to Suzanne.
Okay.
It was a legal issue, to
Yeah.
be honest, so I
Yeah.
went to run it by council first. That actually didn't occur. Do you know what I mean? That's the only reason why I was told to do them.
yeah, I know, I spoke with you earlier. Yeah, okay.
No, I know, that's the only reason why they're like that.
Yeah, but I think that's not the flavor that the board is giving, okay? When it says variance passes, like in the one prior to it, okay? Okay, with the 114, variance passes 3-2 in favor of. The variance wasn't granted
Correct.
because it wasn't a supermajority.
That's correct.
So, but we're saying variance passes.
In the minutes, yes.
Well, how about in real life?
In real life, the decision is dispositive. So this is just what occurred at the meeting, and unfortunately, I made an error at the meeting and said that something passed when we needed 4 votes, because we very rarely have a 3-2, and I was a brand-new guy on the job, I'm a boob and all that kind of stuff. So this is just reflecting my boobness, not necessarily what actually
Yeah, no
occurred.
one's criticizing anyone.
No, I understand, and but
I
I'm
said,
taking
why don't we just
responsibility
table
for it, Alan.
Yeah, I don't care who does it, she does it, he does it. I would just like to table it.
Understood, and what the
And
explanation
correct
has
it
been
so
made
it
to you
reflects, so if
is
somebody
that
picks
what
up the
actually
minutes-
occurred at the meeting is that there was a 3-2 vote, and I announced that it was in favor. So that's what actually occurred at the meeting. So to put something in here that did not actually occur at the meeting is a little bit, it's different.
Yeah, but
Alan.
this gives the impression, like the one on 14, like the one
Yeah.
on 114, that variance passes. So what this, to me, gives the impression we granted a variance to that property. on
Understood, and
114.
what we're doing is we're going around in circles here. I mean, you've said that this is giving a misimpression. I've explained to you that the minutes reflect what occurred at the meeting, and Valerie has said that she's going to speak to Suzanne. So my suggestion is that we break that cycle, get out of that circle, and allow Valerie to talk to Suzanne.
And I would like to, well, there's a motion, to make a motion to table it so we can correct it.
Okay, is there a second?
Well, actually, my motion's on the table first, so
Yeah,
I
her
think
motion's
that
there.
we
Well-
need to entertain that one before he can say one.
Well, if there's not a second, then I guess we don't have to. Is there a second?
Second the motion,
Which motion?
Ellen's motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Oh, we gotta get to vote.
Oh, you weren't here? So what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus I'm number 6. All right, so I'm opposed as well. So what is that? That's 2 to 3? I didn't hear. You're
I'm
a,
opposed to her motion.
right. So there's a no and an aye, 1 to 1, 1 to 2. I'm sorry.
I was an aye.
You were an aye,
To
that's
accept
2
the
to
minutes.
2.
I seconded,
And you,
so aye.
and you're an aye, so 3 to 2. So Ellen's motion carries. And the minutes are approved.
So is that a supermajority vote on procedurals?
We don't need a supermajority for an administrative
Okay.
item like that.
You don't want to create the same one?
No, I don't. Just curious.
That's wrong.
Second item on the agenda is the petition of Jeffco, which has requested to withdraw its application without prejudice.
I'll make a motion to withdraw the application at 197 High Street, to withdraw without prejudice, noted in the May 8th letter from Smolak and Vaughn.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is a unanimous vote, and the matter is withdrawn. There are 2 miscellaneous items on the agenda. There is, the first one is, there's an annual meeting of the board, which the chair goes to every year, at which they just ask for any issues that the board has, a status report, comments, questions, ideas, kind of thing. So I'm just bringing it up before everybody to the extent that folks have something that they would like to be considered, discussed, communicated, whatever it is. I'm happy to be that voice. So with that introduction, does anybody have anything that they'd like arisen?
I do. I want to see where we stand at rewriting our bylaw. I know it's being reviewed, and I was just curious where we are in that process. Because I know they hired a consultant to review it, so,
All right.
because as we know, there's a lot of conflicting bylaws in there. I was just curious where we are.
That's certainly a rational thing to ask about. Any other comments, questions, ideas from the board? No? All right, the next item on the agenda in the miscellaneous is that I have submitted to Valerie a red line version indicating a change in our own, so the Zoning Board of Appeals rules and regulations. So these are things that can be amended they're created by the board, they can be amended by the board at any time, just requires a majority vote. And what I have penned here for everybody's discussion and/or consideration is the language that will put into our rules and regulations, the vote that we took a couple of months ago, ensuring clarity in that all board members, whether they be full board members or associate board members, are entitled to vote for the officers at the beginning of each calendar year. So that's the only introduction I have. If there's any comments, questions, concerns, discussion, I guess now is the time.
It's the last sentence, can you?
I don't see where it says anything about associate members.
All board members. So if you look up at the top, the board members are capital B, capital M. That's a defined term as the full board. So if it is not not capitalized, then it is everybody present. The alternative, which I'm certainly happy to do, is to try to squeeze in a definition. That's something I thought about, but squeeze in additional definition. That's, we could do all board members, capital A, capital B, capital M, which would be defined as the regular board members and the associate board members. The language in the rules and regulations is just a little bit awkward. It's something that over time I think has been amended and re-amended and all that kind of stuff. So much like our bylaw, this is something that can stand a more thorough rewriting, revision, and that's something that I'm more than willing to undertake either on my own or with anybody alongside for the board's review and discussion. But I wanted to give a more firm and more permanent voice to the vote that the board took. It's something that I certainly felt strongly about this spring So I was just taking a very discreet action here by approaching only the vote for officers.
And it's always been at the chair's discretion, which I don't think it should be. I've always been a firm believer that everyone is on this board is an equal member, even though you don't get the ability to vote. But I think you all have an equal voice to be heard. I mean, you sit here, you come here, you take the time to volunteer. I feel that, you know, you should take the time to elect who you want to represent you as
And it is a
board.
decision that affects everybody.
Correct.
I just think it's very nice to have it clarified.
Yeah, I would just do a clerical error that most senior board, you have capital B and small m for member. I think you might want to, should the M be capital?
I see the point that you're making, and I honestly don't know the answer to that, you know, without the balance, without the balance of the rules in front
It's
of
a
me.
board member, it's a noun, it's a person, so if the B is going to be capital, the M should as well, because it refers to someone.
I just don't get why you can't just.
This is not the Andover Public Schools, mind you.
We won't talk about my education. I don't get why you can't just put after all members present, including associate members. Does that just make it?
No, because it's defined in the front, board member, associate board member, the members. All members, whether you're an associate or you're a board.
So to address your point, which is all, you could, in the point that you're talking about, an insertion right after that, all members present, comma, specifically including but not limited to the capital B board members and associate board members, is a way to do it.
I think,
So-
it-
Takes out the capital B, capital M confusion of.
but I think,
Except that it reinserts it.
I think when you do something like that, then you're getting too wordy. And if you keep it general, all members present, it's a general term, instead of doing too much.
So that was my original
Right.
approach. That was the efficiency with which I was trying to, you know, that's the efficiency tack is what I was trying to take, but I am certainly not above, you know, having to
You guys work on
make it.
capital B's and capital M's, then I'll follow your lead.
You should be consistent within the whole thing.
You did not just say BM.
And in the last sentence, and/or vice chair impairs the ability to sit on, does it flow? This
No.
procedure, yeah, that sentence doesn't flow?
What do you mean float?
Flow,
Flow. Like
it's
the
not,
flow
it doesn't
Oh,
flow.
it's- I had to read it 4 times, but it makes sense. And it's
It makes sense,
it's
but it doesn't
correct.
grammatically does not flow.
No, grammatically it's correct.
Is it?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
It's,
When it-
it's,
This procedure will be used when a conflict of interest may cause the chairperson and/or vice chair. Oh, wait a minute, no, maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, no,
A conflict of
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right, Alan.
Causes the chairperson. No, that would be it either.
I'll read something to you guys so this makes sense. If board of directors is used in a generic sense and not referring to a specific board of directors, so it's not referring to, I'm assuming now, it would not be capitalized. So here's an example. Almost all nonprofits are required to have a board of directors or board members. It's not capital.
okay.
If it's referring to you specific, like, you know, so that's what it sounds like. It sounds like the M would be.
So if it was chairperson,
I
if
mean,
it was chairman,
board, obvious, yeah, so if it.
Be
if
capital
it
C.
used
So the B,
chairman,
right.
board of-
So the
board
B is gonna
member, it would
be-
capital because they're referring to a specific person, but it sounds like if it's generic, just tough, you know, I mean, but it is kind of referring, it is, I guess I wonder if you put ZBA in front of it, that would be a specific board. And all of a sudden, everything becomes capital. If you did zoning board, like, does that become?
Right, but of course this is relating to the ZBA because it's the
I
ZBA
know.
rules and regulations.
So the B should be lower B, consistent with the whole paragraph.
Yeah, so I think the most senior board
No,
member
finance.
becomes lower. I don't know. You can check further, I'm just keep reading this.
Could I suggest that the last sentence be changed? This procedure will be used when a conflict of interest impairs the ability of the chairperson and/or vice chairperson to sit on a petition.
So So cross out may cause and move impairs the ability of to, put it in its place.
Put it in this place.
Yeah.
Yep.
And make the B lowercase.
Well, once again, without the context of the remainder of the rules
Right.
and regulations, I believe, my expectation is, I'm not above making a mistake, but I think that that's a capital B. It's defining the board is the zoning board of appeals. So senior board member in the little b, capital B case that we're talking about is whomever is the longest tenured person on the entire board, not the longest tenured full member, not the longest tenured associate. By definition, these are, the full board members are going to be longer tenured than the associate, so it doesn't really, as a practical
isn't
matter, it
always
doesn't make
true.
any difference.
Which isn't always true, because sometimes an associate member would not choose to be a board member and could serve longer.
I sure forgot about him. Was his name Mike? He was here a long time.
As an associate board member?
Chose
Yeah.
not to be a board member, wanted to be an associate.
Want to remain an associate.
Wow.
So in that case, Ellen, I hear you loud and clear on that one, and I'm in full-throated agreement with you that it should be capital B, capital M in the place that we're talking about.
Okay. Because you want to define it as that
Yeah.
actual board. Okay,
Yeah,
yep,
that makes sense.
okay.
You're wicked smart, huh?
Right? Where'd you get your education?
Not Andover High. Bentley University.
So that, I think we captured your edit, Ron, and we certainly captured Alan's edit. Alan, did you have anything?
No, you people are doing a wonderful job without me.
You people.
Use. Use are all doing great.
Anything else
I have
from
nothing
you,
else.
Nathan?
No.
Ms. Jacobs?
No.
All right, so upon, I guess there needs to be a motion that I can't make, right?
So with the edits that we both discussed, I'll make a motion to adopt these rules and the amendment to the rules and regulations as written.
As
written with the amendment.
with the amendment.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Okay.
All opposed? And so that be a unanimous vote as well. And I think there ends. There's nothing else on the agenda, so perhaps there should be a motion to adjourn.
Do you want to talk about family suite? Is that something you just want to talk about?
What's not on the agenda?
I'll
All right,
make-
you look at-
I'll make a motion to,
Alan was looking for
Sorry.
it.
Alan, what were you looking at? I'm sorry.
I want to give you the glory of
Oh,
the
okay.
motion to
Wait, hold on. We
adjourn.
don't have a
Oh,
July.
no, I
we don't-
changed my mind.
we don't July-
So wait-
I think we should discuss the family suites thing. This is quite interesting. I'm reading some of these things.
No, it's okay, I just, yeah,
One of the other astute members of the zoning board could make that motion.
So before I do that, there's no meeting in July.
Right.
Are we going to continue with that, or is there,
Continue.
No,
Sorry, continue what?
Let's not get crazy.
we've never not, we don't have
To
a
be honest,
July meeting.
there's nothing, we don't have any, I'd say yes if we had something, but, well, we kind of do, but they don't, they actually aren't even giving me their stuff yet.
So our next meeting's going to be in August.
We definitely have one in August, it's gonna be prime.
Okay.
I was confirming no July, not recommending a July.
Don't we get July off anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, but I always understood there was no meeting in July.
So what's she talking about?
Yeah, I don't know why.
That's good.
I was just confirming no meeting. That's all I was doing.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And we stand adjourned.